Living in Chelan, is it paradise or pretty painful? Lake Chelan looks like a dream, right? Gorgeous water, mountain views, wine country charm. This is something that it would even make an HGTV producer absolutely lose their minds. But what if I told you that behind the sunset and scenic boat rides, there are some very real, very un-Instagrammable challenges. In this video, we are pulling back the curtains and we're talking about what it's really like to live full-time in Lake Chelan, Washington. Stick around because I'm also going to reveal a few other waterfront alternatives that you've probably never considered, but you should definitely think about. Hey there, I'm Dallman, your Central Washington realtor, and on this channel, we keep it real about living in Central Washington, from the beauty to the BS. If you're relocating here, retiring here, or just looking for an investment property, please hit the subscribe button. We post videos weekly. All right, let's get into the pros and cons of what it's like living in one of Washington's most iconic lake towns. First off, it is drop dead gorgeous, right? Let's start with the obvious, and that is Lake Chelan is ridiculously beautiful. It's a 55-mile glassy emerald blue lake that is almost like a screensaver that you actually live in. It's surrounded by the North Cascades, so it boasts boating, hiking, snowshoeing in the wintertime. You'll feel like you live in a postcard because honestly, you kind of do. It's an outdoor playground year-round. You have Echo Valley Ski Area, which is right up the hill. It's no Whistler, but it is a cozy, fun little locally owned ski resort. There's also a tremendous amount of cross-country skiing up in that area. If you prefer hiking, there's the Chelan Butte, which has absolutely stunning views. And boating is practically a religion here. You can even surf on the world's largest man-made stationary wave. Wine and relaxation is like a community vibe in Chelan. It has over 40 wineries. And if you're a local here, you can't walk downtown without somebody offering you a glass of wine or knowing your dog's name. And there are plenty of events year-round, from wine walks to farmers markets to sunset yoga at wineries. And every fundraiser somehow turns into a wine tasting event. It's very community driven and it has charm in all the right ways. The schools are also great and the crime is very low. Chelan School ranks high in the state because of its small class size, invested teachers, and a community that really rallies behind the students. The crime rate is also low, about 13% lower than the national average. It's still a place where people leave their doors unlocked. Crazy, right? The real estate market is booming, and if you already own a place in Chelan, congrats, you're basically sitting on gold. The average home price is around $900. Only $900. Yeah, right. Don't we all dream? The average home price is about $900,000. And if you want a waterfront property, you're looking at multi-million. But don't let that scare you off because there are condos and off-lake homes that are still doable. And a great investment that is likely to grow, especially if you get in before your neighbors in San Francisco does. Okay, we have to talk about some of the really downsides and troubling parts about Lake Chelan. And of course, a big part of that is housing costs. We are not going to sugarcoat this. Chelan is expensive. Home prices are 72% higher than the national average. Even a modest two-bedroom home with a peekaboo view of the lake can run between $600,000 and $700,000. And if you want a dreamy cabin on the hillside with a gorgeous lake view, you are pushing over $1 million. Jobs are pretty limited unless you work remote. The economy here really runs on tourism, service work, and agriculture. You won't find a ton of high-paying jobs unless you're bringing your job with you or possibly commuting to Wenatchee, which is about an hour drive. The local employers here really struggle hiring staff because their staff can't afford to live in the area. It's a little ironic, and it's a big problem in a lot of destination spots. Another downside that some of the locals really feel is the summer madness. We're talking about traffic and tourists. From June through September, Chelan can kind of turn into a mix of Coachella and a frat party on the water. We're talking bachelor parties, weddings, and day drinkers are everywhere. Expect long waits at restaurants, zero parking downtown, and there's one lane of traffic that crawls around the lake. A locals tip: do your errands before noon or just hide out until October. Chelan is remote, which also means limited resources. Chelan does have a Safeway, a Walmart, an Ace Hardware, a hospital, and a local grocery store, and that's pretty much your core. For anything beyond that, or some of the other bigger basics, such as a Costco, a Target, major medical specialist, you are going to be driving to Wenatchee, which is an hour away. Or if you need even more specialized doctors or appointments, you're going to be driving to Seattle or Spokane, both 3 hour plus drive. In the wintertime, these drives can be pretty dangerous on really dark and icy roadways. Going to Seattle, you cross 2 mountain passes. Okay, the next downside you might not expect me to put in the con category, but I'm gonna talk about the weather. The weather is dry and kind of brutal. Chelan boasts 300 days of sunshine, which sounds great until your nose starts bleeding and your cuticles start peeling. Not only is it sunny and beautiful, but there is a lot of dust. So if you have allergies, you need to be prepared for this. In the summer months, we hit triple digits, which is great if you're on the water, but if you need to do any projects outside, you're going to regret that a little bit. The wintertime is below freezing, gray, and packed with snow. You will certainly want to invest in some sort of traction tire for your vehicle between the months of December and March. Some years we do have wildfire smoke season. We've been pretty lucky this year, but smoke can blow in from wildfires around the region and settle into the lake area, and that also will really play effect if you have any sort of allergies. Okay, here are a couple of tips that locals know that you just might not. Zoning, snow plowing, and septic realities. You need to know these things before you buy. You need to know the terrain, the lot size, the slope size, the snow plowing schedule. All of these make a huge difference in your day-to-day living. Some of those dreamy hilltop properties are practically igloos by January. Also, septic versus sewer, water rights, well water quality, these are all big deals out here. It's not the same as your suburban plug and play real estate. There are also a lot of short-term rental restrictions. So if you think that you're going to buy a second home here and cash in on Airbnb, Chelan's getting stricter with their short-term rental policies, and you need to know what that is before you purchase that home. Talk to somebody like me before you assume anything. I've seen people buy the dream and later find out that they can't rent it at all. Okay, here is a quick cost breakdown of what it costs to live in Chelan. Groceries are surprisingly on par with the national average and just 0.04% higher. Chelan has pretty decent health care, but if you need any sort of specialist, as I mentioned earlier, you'll be headed to Wenatchee. The healthcare cost is 6% lower than the national average, but 5% higher than Washington State's average. And if you are traveling to Seattle or Spokane or any of these areas, you're definitely going to factor in your travel expenses for that. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, here's where Chelan really wins on affordability, and that's utilities. Utilities in Chelan County are 65% cheaper than the national average, thanks to the Columbia River hydropower. Property taxes in Chelan County are just 0.88%. Which is quite a bit lower than the Seattle King County area, where it's 1.05%. Gas and transportation. This is where things start to get a little bit of expensive. Chelan doesn't really have public transportation. There is a bus, but there's very few routes. The state's gas in Washington State is pretty expensive. As I'm recording this, it is about $4.65 per gallon. And in Chelan, you're going to be paying a little bit more. When living in Chelan, you need to expect to be car dependent. Dining out can also feel expensive thanks to the tourism and tourism season. You can expect to pay anywhere from $15 to $20 for a burger and $50 for a steak. It is boutique pricing all around. So, is Chelan your forever home or just a fabulous vacation fling? If you're dreaming of lake life but want help navigating prices, the policy, and the property, click the link in the description. I help folks relocate, invest, and find smart living situations in Central Washington. So, you want to know some hidden gems or other waterfront alternatives. Manson is just up the lake from Chelan. It has the same views, way less foot traffic. It's kind of like Chelan's quieter, slightly boho cousin, if you will. It still has wineries, lake access, and you can actually find parking. A couple of the other options are not on Lake Chelan, but on the Columbia River just below Lake Chelan. And I'm talking about Iniat and Orondo. It will take you about 20 to 30 minutes to get to downtown Chelan, but it's a lot quieter, a lot more affordable, and you still get that sunny waterfront lifestyle. Lake Chelan is gorgeous, but could you live there full time? That really depends on the lifestyle you are looking for. If you love sunshine, wine, community, this might be your place. But if you're not really into the crowds, the sticker shock, and the realities of rural living, this might not be your spot. I'm Amanda Dallman, your Central Washington realtor. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe as we put out videos every week, and we would love to help you find your home in Central Washington.